Chapter 39. Resist this, Ted. Joshua loved being his own boss on the page or on the stage, but what he cherished most was the role of life coach enhancer for his three children in an obsessive effort to overcompensate for the fact all his father ever taught him was a half-form, ground-glued hook shot at best, and to question his innate given talent every step of the way. Reality is, parents do their best, and outside of providing a roof over your kids' heads and giving them food on the table with a semblance of normalcy in their lives, minus beating the shit out of their kids or putting them in harm's way unintentionally to get molested at sleepaway camp or in Catholic school, you've done enough. But Joshua wanted to be more than just a mere provider for his family of five. His quest was to become a do-it-all dad hero who made a living by finding a way to spend more time with his kids than apart. That's why he threw everything into his joke writing and do-it-all dad year podcast, wrote books, blogs, released a comedy album on iTunes, schlepped to a Trump rally in Jersey to sell his comedy CD, Resist This, and did whatever it took to sell his work because real art sells. He'd tell his kids while quoting Hunter S. Thompson in the process. But since Hunter blew his brains out and had his ashes blown out of a cannon by his coked out resistor actor buddies like Sean Penn, John Cusack, and Johnny Depp, because actors like to play with guns, was his role model no more. Joshua thought, how can anyone with kids kill themselves, clinically depressed like Robin Williams or not, especially knowing highly successful, best-selling, decades-long working, revered artists such as Robin Williams and Hunter S. Thompson, both big mockers at the top of each of their respective professions, who most likely never had to suck up their monster egos after achieving big-time success and go back to being a cold-calling IT agency recruiter monkey for Robert Half after getting their TV writing break in Manhattan for VH1 Classic only 2 months prior. Oh yeah, Hunter loved to bet on football, and the NFL season was over, and he blew his best load on his Hell's Angels buck, which was already 30 years ago, resulting in him almost getting stomped to death and Johnny Depp's personality without any lines to read off the teleprompter after his look started to fade made poor old Hunter feel exclusively blue, like when John Elway joined the Freemasons. Wah! Wah! Also, it's not that Joshua ever considered killing himself despite feeling totally emotionally abandoned by his fake news friends from high school. For the most part, parents and younger brother as a whole, the moment he set out on his path to go into business for himself, fight for what he believed in, refusing to be pushover putsy no more, the most chilling image from the biography on female super agent Sue Mengers, who represented Barbra Streisand at the top of her game, was of her dad buried outside the Jewish cemetery gates among the other failed Jews who took the easy way out, a big no-no in God's book. What Joshua's father never understood about his son was his desire to do more than just earn a nice living, but to thrive, dominate, and become a monster success within the comedy, writing, performing arts, somehow, some way, no matter what. Not to prove his dad wrong, but because writing always felt right. Writing made him feel like he could be somebody. Writing made him feel like he could be more than just another salesy schmuck in a headset. But God threw 3 curveballs Joshua's way when he gave him Matilda, Arthur, and Samuel, who, if anything, made his obsessive pursuit to prove his funny Jewbone and imaginative heart and soul man heart more than ever. Although for the past 9 years now, this drive to impose his creative will onto the world had been relegated more to the page than on the stage. That is until his TED Talk in New Jersey, where his dad had schlepped from Westchester County for so many years to his VP of sales job for a $90 million in sales plastics company, so his son wouldn't have to do the same. Not that his father was kvetching about his job ultimately helping provide for his move-in ready Scottsdale, Arizona estate home after he retired, with gorgeous mountain views and a beautifully tiled saltwater pool and jacuzzi to match. The TED Talk MC, the Jewish super angel, Joshua, had met at the coffee shop in the West Village after his killer audition, which made him the commercial spokesperson for Porsche SUV, introduces his do-it-all dad hero. The Jewish super angel says, "It's my honor to introduce my do-it-all dad hero, Joshua Kornbluth, who's funnier than Jim Gaffigan on nitrous in his sleep. You can do act out voices articulating the audience's feelings and thoughts. Got it, Jimbo." Joshua is the host of the now nationally syndicated Do It All Dad Year podcast, dad-friendly entertainment for you and me, what Gen X parents understand. He's also a best-selling novelist who wrote the Great American Jew novel, literally. He also re-recorded his comedy dead album, Resist This, at Electric Ladyland Studios, which became another monster success. So he accomplished that too. The Do It All Dad Year tear continues. He's also a food truck entrepreneur and founding father of the Do It All Dad Hero food truck, offering the first ever plant-based Cheese Whiz loaded kosher cheesesteak, converting Kansas City Christians over to the kosher side for 5 minutes at a time. After the brisket used in the Do It All Dad Hero won every gold medal award at the American Barbecue Championships in 2020. I am proud to say I was the first and only Jewish super angel investor believer in his food truck business, which never would have been possible without his workhorse, supremely talented food truck partners, Jeremiah, the star kosher butcher from Crown Heights, and his younger brother, plant-based Cheese Whiz genius making brother, Shmendel the Great. Now let's get this party started. With Joshua's TED Talk today, joy is not bombing at parenting. Joshua comes out on stage and hugs it out with his new dear super angel Jewish friend and starts to deliver his TED Talk speech made for these times. Joshua gets the TED Talk party started. Joy is not bombing at parenting. Joy is unplanned fatherhood and getting closer to my kids than I already am. But let's talk about unplanned fatherhood first. 3 direct hits later. I never mastered the art of the pump fake, for starters. Nor was I aware of what attachment parenting is. It's turning your bed into an open milk bar for the foreseeable future. Gen X parents understand. Our parents moved to the suburbs from the Bronx, not for better school systems, but just for another room upstairs for the baby to cry out in, making the moans of despair easier to bear. But God didn't give me 3 kids to have a panic attack over it. Obviously, God never had the same confidence in Pete Davidson, the boy toy voice of Generation Z. My wife says, I've sacrificed. She acts like an aspiring comedian in his late 20s, wanted kids ever. Children are family upgrades, though, who kick your career passions into overdrive, leading me to finally getting my TV writing break at VH1 Classic, writing all the heavy metal intro reads for WWE Chris Jericho. Halfway into the shoot, Chris Jericho tells me his father played professional hockey in Canada. I reply, and that's why you're Chris Jericho, and I couldn't dunk a basketball if my life depended on it. Post-purification or not, what I've learned from unplanned fatherhood 3 direct hits later is why kids love back. Because you make them feel like the most important center of your universe instead of the reverse. Because when you say, I love you, it doesn't sound manufactured horse, like you're forcing the issue to avoid a divorce. Famous humorist Victor Bohr said laughter is the shortest distance between 2 people. So my main idea worth teaching dads is the importance of being funnier around their kids and to teach you how controlling our kids' comedy can make our kids great again. My 3 fuss-free kids 98% of the time are living proof of it. Being funny around your kids is important because it's the difference between being a do-it-all dad and bombing at parenting, which is your kids never wanting to seek your own company again. Do-it-all dads matter because 70% of African Americans wind up in jail are a result of fatherless homes, despite do-it-all grandma's best efforts. Do-it-all dads matter because only 1 out of 3 kids today live with their dads. And you wonder why college campuses today require safe spaces to soothe the student nerves of Play-Doh whenever big bad Ben Shapiro is in town. Doodle dads matter. The Williams sisters, Tiger Woods, Lonzo Ball, and the late great Kobe Bryant can all attribute a larger portion of their success to super involved do-it-all dads. Still, most of us, including myself, can't even jump over a stapler, let alone dunk out at the Staples Center on TNT for a living. Granted, not all of our kids are blessed with God-given natural athletic ability, which is outside of our control. But what's in Dad's control is how he chooses to interact with his children during the limited time he has, so he can become a consummate scene stealer on his own. And that is through being funnier around his kids and making them laugh more than Ted from accounting. No offense. Ted, I'm positive you can be funnier around your kids too. Start using comedy on your kids early, even when they can only string 2 words together. My old routine at the deli with my daughter was this: Matilda, what did Tyson Chandler give the Knicks? She'd say, Bupkis, Daddy, Bupkis. The rod didn't work out too well for Michael Jackson, and helicopter parents raised a generation of kids suffering from separation anxiety, who attend pill parties for fun with 13 Reasons on vinyl, who take offense at everything, given the impression they never had a sense of humor to lose in the first place. Controlling your kids' comedy is the sweet spot in the middle. How did I come up with my concept of controlling my kids' comedy? One day, my 4-year-old son was ranting and raving about going to daycare, and I was intent on writing new jokes, as usual from home, for my Do It All Dad Year podcast, my attempt to make the universe laugh for a living, while looking after his newborn baby brother. I slapped my 4-year-old son Arthur on the bum with mild force. My wind-up was 2 Mississippi Max. Later in the car, the fear of God engulfed my soul, as my son tells me, I'm never talking to you ever again. Now I was bombing at parenting. Because for me, bombing at parenting is your kids never seeking out your company again. But then my Improv 101 training from UCB in Second City kicked into full gear. And I started getting return on my investment. And I started to hit my own bum in the car with a fake news spatula. I said, Archo, my nickname for my son Arthur. I got it. Next time I get angry at you, I'll whip my own ass. Although, don't use the word ass, because kids repeat naughty curse words. So I'll make up funnier, safe space alternatives like anus hole, that sort of thing. So the more I start whipping my own anus hole while driving my son to pre-K with real menacing fury, my son's tears began to subside, and I won my loved son back through controlling my son with comedy, which is why getting more laughs from your kids is serious business, and the difference between winning your kids back and bombing at parenting forever. Again, famous humorist Victor Borge says, laughter is the shortest distance between two people. So make your kids laugh more if you care about getting closer to your kids and not bombing at parenting like Tommy Lee. His son refuses to talk with Tommy, which is awful to hear. If I had Tommy Lee's son on the Do It All Dad Year podcast, I'd ask his son, are you against seeing your father? And still mad at him because he blew off all your baseball games as a kid, knowing you whiffed more than Charlie Sheen at an AVN Expo after-hours party this year? How can you control your kids better with comedy? Talk to your kids like many adults, even in public. If my baby stinks up Stop and Shop in Mayapack in a shopping cart, I'll clarify the depths of his poo and say to my son out loud, Samuel, did you go stink? Son says, I went Pebble Poo Rock. And I'll reply with, smells more like all out of yuck to me. Dr. Seuss peaked early, so it's never too late for you to create some funny nicknames to describe your kids' dumps too. If my son just pees, I'll drop his nappy on the floor at home for dramatic, funnier impact. If it makes a dense plop sound, I'll start singing, Big Ploppin'. So, silly names for your kids' number 1s and 2s is a way to control your kids with comedy in no time. At the same time, dads in the audience are thinking, I'm at work all day and don't have the time or luxury to work from home like you, which makes sense because only 3.2% of American men do. I get it. Our president commented on never having to change his kids' diapers because he was too busy becoming a billionaire, hooking his kids up for life. I wish I could make that claim because it would mean I had my shit together for a change. Instead of being an unemployed, stay-at-home comedian at the time who've been fired more than a Palestinian slingshot, the most important part to controlling your kids with comedy and making them laugh more is stop taking yourself so seriously and to let your hair down at home with your limited stage time with your kids. Quitting Twitter and Facebook is a step in the right direction, Instagram included. I don't miss my joke gems getting retweeted on Twitter one bit. Making out with your kid's stuffed animal, dolls like Pineapple Pretty, is an effective way to control your kids better with comedy. You develop your own improv routines. But one of mine is making out with Pineapple Pretty, but I set the stage a bit saying, "Ooh, Pineapple Pretty, you're so pretty. I can't control myself around you, Pineapple Pretty." Before I start to pretend making out with my kid's stuffed animal, who I nicknamed Pineapple Pretty, while making plenty of oohing and awing sounds in the process. My daughter always defends Pineapple Pretty's honor and starts pulling Pineapple Pretty away from me, saying, "Don't even think about it, Daddy." Another way to control your kids better with comedy is to flatter your kids and emote about their inspired laugh out loud ad-libs, which make you laugh a long time, so you embolden your kid's comedic expressiveness. Like when your 5-year-old son yells at your faulty voice-powered speaker and says, "Cortana, throw yourself out the window already." Or when your son pushes you to finish you writing your self-published book, Controlling My Kids, a Comedy, a Love Story, and says, "Daddy, be funnier than Weird Al by Christmas or I'll kill you with our sharpest knife for real." And then later, have your son do the intro for a Do It All Daddy Your Podcast episode where he says, "Be funnier than Weird Al," or "Boo, hack, get off the stage, dada." So by involving your kids in the magic of comedy creation, they develop a greater sense of funny and desire to make their Do It All dads laugh more too. Also, darker is always funnier, like the Stinky Cheese Man story for kids, which is a picture book tale about a married couple who was lonely, so they create a baby known as the Stinky Cheese Man, but end up kicking Stinky Cheese Man out of the house because he stinks up the place and makes their stomach sick. Also, another way to make your kids laugh more is to give a voice to dramatize concerns of your kids. For example, one time I gave my son Arthur a friendly hip toss on top of our bed, and his bouncy ball spine almost catapulted him into the dresser as he bounced off the bed. I understand at first my son was a tad freaked out by the experience, but through using humor, I lightened the mood and said, "Who put a bouncy ball in your spine?" when I wasn't looking, and my son laughed. Now, when I ask my son if he wants an elevator drop on the bed, I'll dramatize his concern before I give him the elevator drop, assuming my son's voice saying, "Don't drop me from too high up, Daddy. I have a bouncy ball stuck in my spine, remember?" And I can riff off that funny imagined concept forever, which your kids will participate in to keep the scene alive between you two. Long time! So not only assuming your kid's voice, but imagining things that don't exist, like a bouncy ball in your son's spine, or there being a yellowtail suture roll in your newborn's knee, will get your kids laughing and closer to you more than you ever could have imagined before. I'll go give my newborn son a Ninosh and say, "You got any more yellowtail in there?" And he'll say, "No, but I've got salmon and avocado in there, though." Another way to control your kids' comedy is by teaching them funny words in Yiddish, which is a very colorful, expressive language, which makes your kids funnier and more likable to be around also. For example, whenever our internet goes out while the kids are watching a show on Hulu or Amazon Prime, because we're on the cloud, my baby boy Samuel will take his sock off and throw it at the TV and yell, "Gavolt, Gavolt," which means, "Oh my, not again." Or if my daughter farts 3 times in a row from Field Roast Burger Night, I'll say, "Gavolt, Gavolt, Gavolt," in rapid succession. Normally this results in my daughter singing roast corn booth hitting me in the arm a couple of times, but it's worth it. I'm also not saying "Gavolt, Gavolt, Gavolt" with malicious, self-esteem hampering intent, like my father called me a waste of height growing up while coaching me in junior rec basketball, but nobody's perfect. Another way to control your kids with comedy is to make fun of how crappy their art teacher's name is in elementary school, especially when their name is Miss Outhouse. And you could use the power of the callback and say, "Miss Outhouse, what kind of name is that? Is Stinky Cheese Man her soulmate?" And never underestimate the power of surprise. I do this routine called Falling Putsy Apple Tree, where my son is lying on the bed and I'll say, "Falling Putsy Apple Tree, part 2! And I'll playfully drop my head into my son's midsection twice. Then I'll throw off the rhythm and surprise him with Falling Putsy Apple Tree, 4, 5, 6, Booyah Tribe, and ram my head into his midsection, getting my son to laugh a long time. Now, whenever my son watches the Death Star get blown up again in Star Wars New Hope, he'll say, "Booyah Tribe," which never grows old. So don't shy away from using old school hip-hop lingo to control your kids better with comedy, because it never gets old hearing your daughter refer to the past tense as old school or back in the day either. I get it. Most dads don't feel positive about their roles as fun makers around their kids, but just make an extra effort to prize funny over money at home and try to make your kids laugh more. And you'll start getting more smiles from the window when you come home and more hugs from behind, because kids love back with 10 times more emotional oomph when you make them feel like the center of the universe instead of the reverse. I don't want to be best supporting dad. That's like winning best side bitch. So take more creative chances at home and try bossing through clowning around your kids and prize funny over money at home and stop being so willing to outsource the totality of your kids' entertainment to Baby Yoda and the maligned millennial Mouseketeer grandson of Darth Vader, the most petulant, annoying addition to an ex-iconic franchise I can give two BB-8 shits about now. Can I get a holla for preaching the gospel a long time? Holla! Social justice. His dad proving he's got the drive to outshine scary mommy at home, intent on growing closer to his kids through comedy, even if it's only for 5 minutes of stage time before he tucks his kids in at night. So, do it all, Dad Nation. Make the most of your stage time with your kids. Bombing at parenting isn't funny when you're the one doing it, which is why getting laughs is serious business, because the more you make your kids laugh, the closer you'll get. Controlling our kids with comedy can make our kids great again. My 3 fuss-free kids, 98% of the time, are living proof of it. Thank you. Joshua gets another standing ovation, which is becoming old hat at this point. And he locks it. His wife Anna and 3 kids, Matilda, Arthur, and Samuel, bum rush Do It All Dada on stage and hug their Do It All Dad done good with all their might. While Do It All Dad's Jewish Manhattan Mothering Book Club and the audience continues to cheer him on the loudest. Joshua adds one more thing while he has everyone and the audience's rapturous attention. Just to be clear, I don't become a Do It All Dad hero without God blessing me with these fuss-free Jewish angels as a whole, in addition to their Do It All mom. Instead, without them, I'd be just another bitter, has-been, alcoholic writer. But enough of Hunter S. Thompson. Thank you. The end.